Hello, I'm Nora Othick. I'm here at NOMO in Marceline, the North Missouri Arts Council, and we have just hung a new show. It's a theme show called Reflections, and it's the work of several of our members. Anyway, they wanted to interpret the theme Reflections. Here's a landscape by my sister, Barbara Garvey, called Sunset, the sun reflected in the water. Nice long vertical there with someone with a stick or a fishing pole. If you go fishing, there's always a kid throwing sticks in the water. A small abstract that I've done called Black V Reflected. Some poppies by Barbara Garvey, again reflected in the water. This is not part of the reflection show. This is part of our permanent display, mainly of pottery, some fused glass, and some coffee mugs. Also some greeting cards. These two paintings are by Gloria Gooch, who is one of our founding members. This one is tugboats. I think they're on the Mississippi, but it could be the Missouri. And also a rear view mirror called Last Look. I would say that she had been on a vacation at the beach somewhere and she's looking in the rear view mirror, last look before she has to go home. This one has lots of nice reflections in the water. Small piece by me, East Yellow Creek. I live on East Yellow Creek, so I do a lot of paintings there. This case also is not part of the reflection show, but it looks pretty reflective. Lots of jewelry by Melinda Cook, and we have some wine glasses, and also some fused glass jewelry by David Sandoval. And there are also 3 carved walking canes by Butch McKenzie. Again, they aren't part of the reflective show, but most of them have some very highly reflective paint added to them. There's a snake climbing this cane with a very glittering bunch of scales. Okay, here are 6 photographs by Robin Fry, one of our members. She told me she'd been interested lately in shooting into shop windows here on Main Street. You see both what is in the window and then the reflection of what is across the street. So you're getting a layering of reflections. A small but very abstract design of water. Again, here's some water droplets after the rain, it's called. Looks like they're on a windshield or a window so that you're seeing what's beyond, and that's reflecting the light coming through. This is a photograph of GT's, Gary Belt's establishment, and it's called Closing Time for Now. She said she took it just as things were shutting down because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and she said it has both a feeling of warmth with all the natural wood, and also there's a reflection of kind of a darkness behind, so that there's a slight feeling of, the problem of the pandemic. Very nice little photograph of light reflected, it looks like in corrugated metal. Very effective in an abstract sense. And here's a nice interior showing what's behind, the light reflected on the table and the chair. Lots of nice movement throughout this piece. Here's a small painting by Lynn Ferris, who's one of our artists from Iowa. You're seeing the light of the sunset reflected back up in the clouds. Another piece by her called What a Sky. Again, the clouds are highly reflective. They're picking up color from everywhere. Couple of small pieces of, again, of East Yellow Creek by me, little 8x10s. A whole rack of paintings and drawings here in our flip bin. That's not part of the show, but The Creek by Barbara Garvey. Nice little figure drawing in a landscape. Two figures reflected in a creek. Spring Showers. This is Pour Art by Barbara Garvey, and I'm not sure, I can't explain how it's done. It's something technical about using different types of paint so that they react with one another. But you can see that the colors she has chosen and the way she has manipulated it as the paint moves across the surface does have a feeling of spring rain, spring colors, and a feeling of fluidity. This is Oil by Sarah Williams from Brookfield. She is now a professor at Missouri State in Springfield. It's a beautiful night scene of which she has been specializing in for a number of years. And it's Sprague's Locker in Brookfield, which is just a small butcher shop with a kind of a corner grocery store at the same time. But it goes from being very ordinary to having a great beauty at night with all the reflected lights in the puddles and in the sky. I set up several still lifes in my studio. I just put out a plate of glass and either set the objects on it, as in this piece, so that they're reflected. And I have a few more here doing the same thing, just a simple little still lifes. They're very small, either 6x6 or this one called Clementine is 4x4. Just seeing what you get when you add a mirror to a picture. It makes everything a lot more interesting. This is another photograph by Robin Fry. She is playing off not only the mirror reflecting, but the metal of the car and the beads of water on the car. So she's got three different things all reflecting. This is by Jim Jones, a photographer who lives in Dawn, Missouri, and has been with us for quite a while. You're seeing the sunset, I would say. Maybe it's a sunrise, but it's reflected in the clouds. This is a lithograph by Frank Stack, Professor Emeritus at MU. A lithograph is a printmaking process in which you draw on a block of limestone with a grease pencil and then use acid and water and ink to move the print onto paper. I don't know the title of this one, but it looks like Quiet Water. Quiet Water? It doesn't look that quiet to me.
Okay, After the Storm.
Okay. Yeah, to me it looks like, like a sunset in the water and sky. But again, some poor art, but she's manipulating it quite a bit with the different colors she's using, and I guess you move the canvas as the paint is moving across it.
No, I use a tool, and I swipe the paint with
And is that why it's looks thick and thin in places? Is the swiping? Okay. And another painting of East Yellow Creek in August, where most of the water's gone. Okay, there's a few more here. This is my pond in March. Pretty early, it was sunrise. and it's done mainly with a palette knife, which I don't do real often, but I had done the painting first and wasn't happy with it, so I went all over it with a palette knife. I liked it a lot better. This is a piece that was donated to us, and we don't know much about it. I would say it was done by a Mexican folk artist because of some of the other donations that were included. It's repoussé, which means it's a sheet of metal that is hammered down over some kind of form. I think he carved out a piece of wood and then hammered the metal on top of it so that these shapes are in relief. It's an iguana eating dragonflies on a starlit night, and I don't know if these are his iguana eggs. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I would say so.
I would say it's by a folk artist, or you might say outsider artist. Another piece by me, mainly palette knife, a lot of scraping. This is still East Yellow Creek from Harvey Hughes's Road is what we call it. So it's view from Harvey's Bridge. I don't even know what the road is, but that's what my husband and I call it, even though Harvey doesn't live there anymore. Can you tell me how, was this done as pour art or is this a print?
It's pour art.
Okay.
What I do is I pick the colors that I want and I lay them in a strip,
Uh-huh.
and then I take a credit card, an old credit card, and I very lightly move the paint down. And then I wanted more white up here, so I have different colors from here up. And then I did the same process up here.
Okay.
And a lot of times when you do this, the paint muddies.
Uh-huh.
And my husband keeps thinking anybody could do this, but I scrape off a lot of paintings because they don't work. And so I finally got smart and decided to do a small one to see if the colors would work together. So this was the small one I did for the big one around the corner.
Okay.
And I used the same colors, and so I think from now on I'll practice small before I go big.
That's always a good idea.
Yeah.
This is a piece called Ripple. If you know the Grateful Dead song, that's what I named it after. But it's just water in a ditch. I was on a walk and early in the morning, so there was some reflected light of the water running there. We want to look at John Saunders' birds. He's been carving birds for a while now. Again, not part of the reflection show, but a permanent addition to Nomo's work. And more pottery, both by Cecil Dobenmeyer and, do you know her name? Is it?
Kendra Inquist.
Yeah, she's a teacher down in southern Missouri somewhere.
Yeah, she's from Marceline.
But she's from Marceline, yeah, and we've been selling a bit of her work. Okay, this is the last piece. If you walk by Nomo, it's hanging in the front window, you can see it. Barbara says it's the largest piece she's done so far.
Yeah, this is the papa. This is the daddy for my little one.
Except the little one came before the daddy.
That happens sometimes.
And it's called Water's Edge, and there's a lot about water in this piece. When you see water reflecting things, it often breaks it up into all these little pieces so that you see, there might be something orange or blue somewhere else in the image, and it breaks into tiny little abstract designs. There's also a nice feeling of cascading, rippling water, and of the layers, the lines you see in the water, you know, as ripples go across. Really a nice piece. There's a lot going on in it. Something you can look at for a very long time. There's also some cookies in the back, individually wrapped because of COVID. So take cookies, and there's 2 in each package because they were small and because my grandmother always said, take a lot, take 2. And if you want, you can put a donation in the jar. You can even buy some artwork. Hope you enjoy the show. It runs till the end of the month, end of July. Goodbye.
Thank you.